All right, now I want to show you some of the things I've done to the HVAC system, which is something a lot of people don't think about unless it's broken, and that's kind of a shame because not thinking about it is what causes it to become broken in most cases. Obviously, a lot of you, if you have like HVAC buddies, who do it professionally, they're probably riding your ass 2 times a year, spring and fall. Change your filter, because lax maintenance is what causes a lot of these machines to break down when the weather changes, and then people start demanding a lot from them. But maintenance aside, which I'm already on top of, I have plans for this space. And of course, I'm going to wall off the furnace, but you're still going to be exposed to a lot of the other components overhead, like the ductwork and stuff. So I want it to be efficient, I want it to be as quiet as possible, and I want it to look nice. One could argue that the HVAC portion of the project actually started right after I moved in and had to purchase one of these bad boys. The latest Train high efficiency furnace with a variable speed fan motor. If you upgrade your furnace to a high efficiency unit and not the hot water heater, you have to get a chimney liner, because the hot exhaust from the hot water heater, when not joined with the furnace exhaust, isn't enough heat to prevent ice buildup in the chimney during the coldest months. That could cause the chimney to crack and crumble over time. So you need to protect it with a chimney liner if you're going to update the furnace and not the hot water heater. Speaking of hot water heaters, one thing I did do was to replace the anode rod and flush the tank. This should be done once every 1 to 3 years, depending on level of usage, number of occupants, because the anode rod actually attracts all the corrosive elements in the hot water tank to prevent the tank itself from corroding. Once the anode rod is fully corroded, the elements attack the tank. I also added this whole house humidifier when I got the new furnace, and this condensation pump, so that I didn't have to have the hard line running across the floor to the drain in the middle. And then more recently, in preparation for the upcoming basement renovations, I started to really detail the HVAC system. I started off by sealing everything up. That means find every seam in all the ductwork and put HVAC sealant. Comes in a caulk tube. Comes in other things too, but I chose a caulk tube because I'm handy with a gun. So I went around and I sealed every single opening on this plenum, on the intake plenum. I sealed up the back door to the filter since we're not using that side. All these systems come with a door on each side because you don't know which side of the system is going to end up against the wall, and you need to be able to access your filter, which on my system is done over here. I also went through with OSI quad caulk between the wood and the sheet metal for all the return ducts, so there's no air leaks on the intake side. Starting just after the plenum, I insulated every output run for heat and AC. This will help maintain more consistent temperatures throughout the building, as well as increase efficiency. The end of each output run is finished off with spray foam insulation in all the gaps, and then covered up with this foam core foil-backed insulation and sealed with flex fit duct tape. Side note, you might have noticed that my duct insulation stops about 2 feet before we hit the plenum on every one of these runs. And that's for a good reason. These little levers all control the damper doors. You'll use these later in the event that you have your ducts cleaned, because you need them fully open for that. But also you'll use these to make air balance adjustments, or at least that's what I'm going to do, because that increases efficiency as well as the evenness of your climate control distribution throughout the structure. It's going to make it more comfortable and cheaper to maintain. So look, like I said before, none of this is really the visually impressive part of the project, but it's all really important and it's really necessary, and it helps with so much more than just the renovation project. It helps with efficiency, it helps with comfort, it helps with reliability. If you're maintaining everything and running it in an optimal environment, the environment that it was engineered to run in, then it's going to last a lot longer and it's going to perform a lot better and it's going to run a lot more efficiently. So I think this stuff, to me, this is just as exciting as picking paint colors and decorating and making cool custom built-in cabinets, all that stuff's really cool too. But I mean, this is the bread and the butter. And you got to have the butter.